Hey y'all, it's Elisa and welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title, I am doing story time today. I hope you guys are enjoying Vlogmas. If you're new, thank you for joining us, and if you're old, thank you for coming back. So I just wanted to tell y'all a story a few months ago about how and why I quit my job as a supervisor in the nursing field. Yeah. So I would say it all started with COVID, but it started building way before COVID. So first of all, I was, like I said, a nursing supervisor. I felt kind of disrespected at times in my title because there were times when decisions were made that affected my department, and I had no knowledge of these decisions being made. I was not consulted on these decisions. And it's just kind of like, I'm not a, like, what do you call those people? Like, who like want power and stuff. I'm not one of those people, but I will advocate for my people. So when you are making decisions that affect my team members and I'm not a part of it, it makes me feel some type of way, especially when it's going to cause a negative impact on my team members. So there were decisions being made that I had no knowledge of until after it was done. Another punch in the face was that at times these decisions were being made with my assistant of the department rather than, so my assistant was included on the decision making, but I was not included. And it was not like I was out for the day or out, I was in the office, I was there. So I could have been included, but it was as if I was purposely not included. So that was one thing that I really didn't like. It kind of felt like, if I'm being honest, it kind of felt like I was holding, I was there to hold the title, basically. And pretty much that was it. So fast forward a little bit, moving on to, well, oh no, that was post-COVID, that situation. Okay, so fast forward a little bit, COVID hits the fan, and me working in this particular setting, I'm not gonna say the setting, just know that it was a congregated setting. So in the nursing field, that just is, a setting where a bunch of people live together. I'll just leave it at that. So I worked in a congregated setting, and so COVID hits the fan, and we're having a bunch of team members test positive, and to be expected. I mean, we all knew that it was just a matter of time until COVID was going to hit. We were lucky enough to not have it happen so soon, but eventually it happened. So that happened, and it got to the point where we were getting very, very short staffed. I was being asked to work, some crazy shifts, some crazy hours, and I was, as you can see by the title, I was pregnant at the time. I do have a, small child at home. So it was just kind of like, that doesn't work for me, Not that I wasn't willing to help. It was just the time frames that I was being asked to help were not times that worked for me and my family and my lifestyle. Keep in mind that my direct supervisor did not have any small children, and most likely was very capable of working those hours that I was unable to work. So, teamwork makes the dream work, and it could have worked out had we had some willing participants. That's all I'm gonna say. But it was kind of like there was a push on me. What more can you do? What can you do more? And I'm like, what more do you want me to do? I'm getting these shifts covered, which was a pain in the butt. If you've ever worked in management and had to get shifts covered because people are calling out, it's a pain in the butt. Now, imagine having like 6 people. I'm just throwing a number out there. Not that we had 6, but we had a lot. Imagine having 6 people that you're needing to cover in 1 week. Some of them being full-time, so there's multiple shifts that you have to cover. It was just a pain in the butt. So it did come to the point where supervisors were having to get on the floor and help. No problem, right? However, my direct supervisor was not trying to do that. I was helping with passing medications. I don't have a problem with that. I'm a nurse, no problem. But it was like, well, if I'm going to do this, this is what I'm going to do today. Do not expect me to attend meetings or do other things. This is my sole task here, is to pass medications, and I'm in this role basically. Don't expect me to do multiple roles at one time. Now, said supervisor also had the training to pass medications, because in this setting you did not have to be a nurse to do that. Said supervisor continuously said she was uncomfortable doing that and wouldn't do it. Now, not one time was I asked, hey, can you show me, or can I watch you do it, so that I can get a little more comfortable, blah, 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 which I wouldn't have had a problem doing that, nor would I have had a problem training said supervisor. So anyway, that was one thing that really rubbed me the wrong way, because it was like, you're not playing as a team. You're not being a team player. You're constantly trying to put more and more and more on me. And when the exact words came from the mouth saying, what more can you do? What more can you do? I nearly hit the roof because I was like, what? What do you mean? What more can I do? Like, what more do you want? Like, this is crazy. So that was kind of like, all right. This particular role, we were rotating weekends, which was, I knew that coming in. It's like, okay, fine. We had a secretary who was also rotating weekends. When someone calls out on the weekend, you are expected to cover shifts. I was getting text on the weekend saying such and such called out, and I'm saying, okay, find the coverage. I'm off this weekend. Like, quite frankly, that's not my problem. This is a reason why we have a manager that's on call. I mean, said secretary was a part of management team, because said secretary is over office front desk staff. So anyway, that was a part of management. So I'm saying, find the coverage. What's the problem? Well, that's not my department. And I'm like, it shouldn't matter. You're a manager. You can find the coverage. If it was me, I would find the coverage for someone else's department. I mean, quite frankly, all you have to do, you have the call roster, you look down it, you call people. I mean, you look at the schedule and see if they're not already working, and you call people and ask them, can they work? Simple. So, moving forward, secretary gets relieved of her on-call duties, because I guess it was agreed upon that, hey, it's not her department. And it was just like, that's crappy. So now now said secretary does not have to carry this on-call phone that rings all hours of the night. Basically, like, you guys just made her life that much easier, made her job that much more enjoyable, because literally there was no work-life balance, you know? So that was kind of like, strike two. And I even asked, you know, because at that point, that means I'm on call more often, because there's one person that's now out of rotation for carrying the on-call phone. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's talk about this. So you're putting me on call more often. Does that mean I'm gonna get some type of compensation for this? And I even said that does not have to be it does not have to be monetary. I would have taken an extra day like off, you know, like, oh, okay, well, you know, you can have an extra day off during the week or something like that. Just, and it was just like, I don't know. I don't know, you know? And of course, it was never brought up again. It's like, okay, y'all really push it to the limit, like just pushing me. So I'm trying to give you guys some other examples of things that just was like, oh, I can't believe, you know, that this is what you want. Like, this is what you want me to do. This is what you expect me to do, and you expect me to be okay with this. Seriously? So, oh, there was the last instance I'm gonna tell you before I move on and talk about COVID, because these were kind of like 1, 2, 3 strikes, like boom, boom, boom. And then there was a whole, like, my feelings of COVID that kind of was just like, not just COVID, but like the way that it was handled. So anyway, there was a situation where I had been on call for, I think it was, I can't remember which holiday. It must have been Memorial Day. Must have been Memorial Day. Where was I? Oh, so I had just worked I had just been on call for a holiday. I can't remember which holiday it was. I want to say it was Memorial Day. And basically, although I was off that Monday, I still was on call, so I had the phone. Of course, there were call outs. And of course, I had to find coverage. I mean, it was a holiday weekend, so there were call outs, and we were already short. So it was like, great. So, said supervisor said that I can't have the phone this weekend, which left me having the phone for another holiday weekend with call-ins. You know, another major holiday. We're already short. People are going to call out because it's the holiday. And it's just like, that's some BS. Straight BS. So that was like, yeah. I was just like, you know what? At this, I can't, you know. You know, at the time, it was like, I'm pregnant. I'm not about to let this job stress me out. Like, it's starting to be too much, you know. And then we hit the COVID situation, like when COVID really starts to like affect us. There were, once again, decisions being made without me. And not that that's not a big deal, you know. Now, keep in mind also, this facility, within my role, I'm like second in command. If my supervisor, if my direct supervisor is not there, then it's supposed to be me in charge. So keep that in mind also. So with that being said, COVID hits the fan and decisions are being made without me. Decisions regarding health decisions, let me say that, like medical stuff that you should probably consult with a nurse about. You know, we have people with no medical background making these decisions. And it's like, what are you thinking? What's wrong with you? Like, someone who said they've never even checked the blood pressure, making decisions on how to handle, you know, COVID in the facility, as far as when employees should return to work. Employees calling in and saying, hey, I'm having, you know, XYZ. Making decisions on, okay, when they should come back to work. It was just all effed up. My final breaking point was said supervisor saying that individuals who are asymptomatic can come to work even if they test positive. What? Who does that? You mean just because you are asymptomatic, but you're saying this person can return to work? You want to do that just because we're short-staffed. That's what you want to do just because we're short-staffed. I had major problems with that. And I said, you know what? This job is not worth it. I worked extremely hard for my license. And I will not put it, you know, I will not put it at risk. Especially for some stuff that I'm not doing. Like, I'm not making these decisions. Like, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am, child, no. So that was like my final breaking point when I knew I had to go. So one day, bright and early, it wasn't even bright yet, it was literally still dark outside. I got up. It was about 5 in the morning, maybe. I went to my office. I cleared it out, meaning I cleaned my desk, and I sent my resignation letter. Sure did. I'd never resigned from a position that way. I never intended to. Even in this situation, I did not intend to resign in that manner. And I felt, you know, kind of awkward doing it that way. But at the same time, at me being 6 months pregnant, in a place where someone is saying, yeah, they can come to work even though they tested positive, they're not showing any symptoms, they can come back to work. I could not put myself, my family, or my baby, my unborn at the time, at risk like that. Like, no. I was just like, no. I felt that it was going to be a hostile work environment had I put in a 2-week notice. I did not feel comfortable staying in that environment for another 2 weeks. I felt like I was going to be mistreated and targeted. So I made the decision to get out. Just in conclusion, all I can say regarding work is whatever job you're in, whatever field you're in, I know sometimes jobs don't bring you happiness, and if that is what you are facing, then you need to kind of seek alternatives. And if a job doesn't bring you happiness, that's fine. But when it starts to tear you down, that's when you know, like, you have to do better. And I knew, like, I gotta do better for myself. This is not worth it. Because I'm like, I see a lawsuit coming, and I don't want to be a part of it. So I dipped. I sure did. Dipset. So, yeah, that's my story on why I quit my job while pregnant during a global pandemic. So if you are interested in more story times or just interested in my lifestyle, make sure you comment down below. subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.